YouTube, Rook here from Rook Geek Goodness, my little channel on the web for all things geeky and cool. And this video, guys, is another action figure review. A figure I've been wanting to do a full review for a couple weeks now, ever since I picked him up on a toy hunt. Who are we talking about? The phenomenal one himself from the Top Picks WWE Elite Series, AJ Styles. I got this guy, as I mentioned, on a toy hunt to Walmart I normally don't shop at. I kind of go to it on the way to work. I dropped in there for a very, very quick toy hunt, and I found this guy right here. This brand new AJ Styles figure featuring the new TrueFX face scan technology and a host of new features for this new class of figures that have now dropped in your stores, in your retail stores recently. But this figure is phenomenal, pun intended. And we'll talk about this figure in the breakdown segment. One thing in the breakdown segment I want to talk about is a comparison between this figure, the Elite Series 47 AJ Styles, which was his Royal Rumble debut figure, and Elite Series 56 figure, which I think is probably one of the best AJ Styles figures on the market today. So we're going to do a full breakdown segment. We'll look at packaging as a whole. We'll look at paint, articulation, accessories, and conclude final thoughts for you, the viewer. Should you spend the money and pick up this really awesome WWE Elite Top Picks AJ Styles figure? Stay tuned, guys. We'll go to a breakdown. Alright, guys, we're in a breakdown segment looking at the Mattel WWE Elite Class Top Picks AJ Styles figure. Of course, this is a newer AJ Styles figure, just dropped a couple weeks ago. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I picked him up on a toy hunt. So let's actually talk about the packaging and presentation first and foremost. So we have the WWE Top Picks Elite logo right there. It's a new wave of figures. We have AJ Styles listed across the top. You have the logo for WWE right there. Very cool little sticker, kind of piece of cardboard attached right here. It's the TrueFX face scan technology. You know if you have that particular effect going if this sticker piece of cardboard is attached to the packaging. There's a nice little window box display. We have the Elite logo right here, Elite Collection. Nice little red and white stripe on the side. We have a photo right here of AJ Styles. We have another white shot here that says Elite. It does say right there AJ Styles listed on this side. And the back of the packaging, we have a shot of him with his hands out holding the WWE Championship. Unfortunately, this figure does not have the WWE Championship. You get a little bio going in this sort of direction right here, this line going down the figure, talking about AJ's, about his finishing move, his height, his weight, that sort of thing. And all the figures that were available in a particular wave at the bottom of the packaging. One thing to take note of, the additional accessories of his hands and his hood. So let's actually get this guy out of packaging and continue with the breakdown. Alright, guys, we have our WWE Mattel Top Picks Elite AJ Styles figure out of packaging. And the very first thing we usually talk about would be the sculpt, the paint, and the articulation. So let's actually break this down and talk about this figure. First, let's talk about the sculpt. The sculpt looks really good, especially the face scan technology. Mattel's new TrueFX face scan technology, this new patented version of face scanning technology, looks really, really good. I love how they digitized AJ's face and made it look like the wrestler come to life on action figure form. This looks just like AJ Styles. It looks great. Love the way the face scan technology looks. I believe the next figure that's going to be released for AJ Styles, which will be the House that AJ Styles built shirt, which will have the face scan technology will be the same, but I think the hair will be a little bit longer. So he looks good as is. I love this face scan technology. I love how this head looks. Now, if we go down the rest of the figure here, AJ is a smaller wrestler in size and stature. He's not like a Brock Lesnar. He's not bulky and massive in size. He's meant to be more streamlined, more thin. That's AJ Styles, the wrestler, again, brought to action figure form. He looks really good. The color scheme, as I mentioned here on this figure, he's wearing his black vest, which is an accessory. You can remove this vest. It's sort of rubber material. You can take it off. He does have the chest hair underneath it, as well as the tattoo right here. I'll kind of move my hand out the way so you can see it. The tattoo which represents the dates of birth for all his kids, which is right there. Hopefully you can see it. But it is a rubbery material. It holds in place really, really well. You saw me open it up here and it flex right back into position. I love how that works. It does have a little bit difference between the Elite Series 56 AJ Styles, because he has this embroidery going down the vest on both sides. The silverish and like teal color go down each side. I like how that works. The buckles, of course, are silver in color. The rest of the outfit for AJ is in that gray and silver and teal color going down the outfit. The back, he does have the P1 logo. He does have the P1 logo on his elbow pad as well. And one other thing to talk about on the P1 logo right here on his thigh, he does have a set of knee pads on both knees. So take that into consideration if this figure is a figure for you. Now let's talk about articulation. Articulation is very, very good, very strong on this figure. Head will spin 360 with no hindrance. A little tight, that's about it. Head will go up and down a little bit. Here we got a little bit of movement, I like that. Arms will go out to a full T. You can get sort of how he comes out into his entrance with the arms straight out, which is kind of cool. The rotation here, he does have a bicep that will swivel here. He does have a single jointed elbow. This is not a double jointed elbow. I believe it's a single jointed elbow. We'll go about that far. The hands will spin 360, and there's an accessory for the hands. We'll talk about that momentarily, and that will work for both arms. He does have a little bit of paint, a little wristband right here. It does have the P1 logo, if you can see right there. Nice attention to detail from Mattel. I do, in fact, like that. Going down the chest of the figure, again, as I mentioned, he does have the hairy chest, which is painted on. There is an ab crunch, and you get a nice range of motion, and he will hold in his pose, as you see right here, as I will move him forward and move him back. The figure is not snapping back, it's not making any other extra noise. Works really, really well. He does have 360-degree spin at the waist. Again, I'll spin it around so you can see all the way around with no hindrance problems. And if you notice, the articulation is not hindered in any way by the vest. I do like that. The vest was designed and sculpted in such a way where you have all the range of motion without being hindered by the vest. I think he looks better with the vest on than with the vest off. I think that's a really cool attention again to detail from Mattel. If we go down to the legs, the lower portion of the figure, he can get a kick, decent amount of range, about that far without forcing it. He does have range of motions where he can also go into a split, about that far. There's not the weird joint where it's not breaking. You can break it in the center here if you wanted to, but it doesn't split. You don't have to splay the figure in half, which I like that better. I like how Mattel did that range of motion. I do like that. There is 360 swivel at the thigh right here at the quad. There is a double jointed knee right here. There's a pin here above the knee pad and below the knee pad, so you're getting a huge range of motion. You can get them into this bend right here. One thing to take notice for, I was playing around the figure earlier, you can spin the leg all the way back and you almost can kick himself in the back. This is the amount and silly amount of range that these Elite Series figures have. I do like that. I do like that a lot. Now there is a, I guess you would call it it would be a calf swivel here, an Achilles right here. You can swivel the whole foot around with no hindrance. It goes around 360. And there is articulation on the feet, but mine are a bit tight. I'd have to break the joint in. You can hear it kind of going. It does move, and I just broke the joint in. It's a bit tight, like I said. So you might have to break the joints in a little bit because they are a bit stiff. But that's to be, you know, that's typical for an AJ Styles figure, especially an Elite Series figure with a brand new figure right off the shelf. The joints might be a little tight going forward. Now let's talk about the accessories. With AJ's accessories, he has a few pieces here, but there's actually pieces on the figure already. He has, of course, his elbow pad, which I mentioned. This can be removed if you want to. He does have a set of knee pads on his knees, which these two can be removed if you want to take them off. His vest, you would call it an interchangeable part because you can take it on and off if you want to. Take note here of this hood. This hood here is an accessory that gets pinned on. It gets pegged through the back of the vest. You can see the pinhole right here. This can be removed and swapped off. But one thing I like about the Top Picks figure, this came with the down hood in position already. It was not like the Elite Series 56 figure where the hood was both pieces of the hoods. There's this lower piece hood where it's down, and this other accessory, which is this upper portion hood, came as two separate pieces. Mattel got their act together and gave the down hood already attached to the figure, which is what most people, I believe, display their figure like. So that's what I do like. I like that attention to detail. Next is this other hood he has right here. This hood here pegs into these points that you saw right here on the vest. So literally it would peg through the back of the vest. You have to open the vest up, and you would have this hood would be replacing this hood right here. This would be off, and you would have this over AJ's head. That's kind of a different look you can have for him, where the hood would be up. Your personal opinion of what you want, personal taste of which would you rather have, the up hood or the down hood. Personally speaking, I like the down hood better than the up hood. Now, one new really cool feature the Top Picks figures have, and going forward, is extra hands. Going forward with Elite Series, I believe 65 will come with extra accessories for hands. These can be pulled off and swapped into the figure. I'll do that now for you guys. So let's put in this right hand right here, which would be this one. Now, this normal hand, if you're curious, these are clenched fists. These are in a closed grip. You simply pop it off. I'll get it close to the mic so you can hear it. Pops up really nicely, and then we put in the peg. If you look at the peg point, it's very, very long peg point. I like that. And you just snap it into place. So now we have this partially open gripped hand for AJ. We'll do it with the other one too, just so we're complete. And there is the same level of articulation that were on those hands or on these hands as well. So you do have the same bends, the spins are identical. So you do change the way this figure looks. You can do different things, especially if you're maybe holding a title belt and you want them to hold the belt a certain way. With these hands here, the clenched fists, you can't do that because the grip is in fact closed. And I really like Mattel's attention to detail to give us that option now to have open or closed hands. Now I do wish they would have had AJ with the AJ P1 pose where he does this. I wish the hands would have been turned so you can make that effect happen. Maybe in an add-on pack, maybe down the line, maybe another AJ figure will do that. I think that'd be a very, very cool idea. And for fun, guys, I want to do a little comparison between these three different AJ Styles figure. Of course, we're looking at the Top Picks AJ Style, which is this one right here. We have the WWE Elite Series 56 AJ Style, which is this one in the middle. And we have the Elite Series 46, I believe it was, AJ Styles, which was his Royal Rumble debut gear. So if we compare all three of them here, they're completely different figures. The one we're looking at here, of course, is the TrueFX face scan technology in the gray and silver outfit, which we just reviewed. The one in the middle, the Elite Series 56 figure, is very similar to the Top Picks figure with a few exceptions. You don't have the double knee pads. This one doesn't have it. The Elite Series doesn't have it. It has a single elbow pad on his arm, which is the same. He has the identical accessories, which he has the lower hood and the top hood. Face scanning technology, very, very similar between this one here and the Top Picks. Articulation, identical. No real difference in the articulation between these two figures. Very, very similar between the two. The only real main difference would be the figure stand. The Elite Series 56 has a figure stand, while the Top Picks figure does not. And we get the interchangeable hands, which we talked about before. These come with the Top Picks. These other ones do not have interchangeable hands. Only the new Top Pick series and Elite Series, I believe 65 and forward or newer, will have that additional bonus accessory. It looks very, very similar between these two figures, between the Top Picks and Elite Series 56. Very, very similar. The weird guy here, of course, is the Royal Rumble debut AJ Styles, which I believe is Elite Series 46. I could be wrong on the wave, but I think it's 46. This was his first appearance in WWE where he debuted at the Royal Rumble. He has a figure stand, had a diorama piece, so did the 56, where you put the figures together to make a backdrop. That's the idea. He has a figure stand, so it has no issue with the figure standing. You see me struggling a little bit with the Top Picks just because it's on my table here with a cloth over it, so it has a little bit of difficulty standing. If you want to get a figure stand, you can. I didn't mention it, but there are peg points in the feet. You can put him on a figure stand if you were curious. It does work the same way as these two figures right here. But the Royal Rumble one is different than the other ones because this was his first look in Mattel in WWE. The face scan technology is different. The buck is different. They didn't really know the size of the figure for AJ. He's wearing his normal vest, which was very, very different than the P1 inspired gear that you see here between the Top Picks and Elite 56. His gear was not finalized when he debuted the Royal Rumble. That's why if you look at the legs, they look a little different. The wording is different between the two because none of that stuff was finalized with WWE and AJ Styles yet. That's why this figure has a near and dear place in my heart because this is how he looked when he came into WWE on his first debut. So I want you to see a comparison of all three figures. Now, gun to the head, which figure would I buy? Between these two figures, between the Top Picks and Elite 56. This one, before this one came out, the Elite 56 honestly was the best AJ Styles figure ever made. Now, it's definitely a toss-up. Do you like having additional knee pads? Do you like having the extra accessories for the hands? Do you like the sculpt? The sculpt is almost the same, but you like the paint variations. Do you like how he looks presented to you compared to the Elite Series 56? Gun to the head, I go with the Top Picks one. If you can buy both figures, buy both these figures. Buy the Elite Series 56 and the Top Picks figure, in my honest opinion. And with that being said, let's go to final thoughts and wrap up this video. Alright guys, final thoughts on the Mattel WWE Top Picks AJ Styles figure. This figure is a buy. An absolute buy in my honest opinion. If you want a figure that looks very similar to AJ Styles thanks to the new TrueFX face scan technology, this is the figure to buy. Absolutely. The color looks really, really cool. That silver and gray teal color I talked about in the breakdown, I really gushed over it. I love the way this figure looks. The face scan technology is top notch. I love it. It looks very similar to having an action figure coming from your favorite superstar, in this case from WWE. You want to have that figure on TV represented in action figure form. This is what any collector or any person, if you're a young kid or young child who likes toys, this is what you really want. And also having the new interchangeable hands. This is a definite notch up for Mattel. Having extra hands so you can do different things with your figure as a nice add-on. Would I've liked to have the hands in this pose for the glove AJ Styles hand salute? I would have loved to have that. Maybe for a figure down the road. Maybe for the next AJ Style figure that gets released. I don't think it's going to be the Elite Series 66, but maybe past that, possibly. Maybe even in an add-on pack you can buy. Interchangeable parts would be very cool to have. Maybe in this color scheme, maybe another color scheme. I think that'd be very cool to have that hand gesture he normally does with the P1 open gripped logo. I think that'd be very, very cool. Now, if we compare this figure, the AJ Styles Top Picks Elite, to the WWE Elite Series 56, they're very, very similar. They're very, very similar. The face scan technology is very subtly different between these two figures. You have to look really closely to pick up on it. It's very, very subtle. But as far as the buck, the design, the articulation, almost identical. You have to ask yourself a question between these two figures. If you had to pick one, which one would you buy? Do you want the figure stand? The Elite Series 56 comes with a figure stand and a diorama piece, like a piece of cardboard that would go into the base. You would put all the figures together to make a backdrop display. That was the idea behind it. Do you like the figure stand? The Elite Top Picks does not have a figure stand. The Elite 56 does. Also, one of the big points is the interchangeable hands. You don't get these with the Elite Series 56. They only started doing this with Wave, I believe, 65 and up. I could be wrong there. I do apologize. I want to say 65 and higher, and the Top Picks is considered in that Wave series to be along those lines. That's why he has the interchangeable hands. The gear is really the only thing that sets apart between this figure and the Top Picks. The 56 to the Top Picks is really what you have to say, do I like the blue and silver gear, or do I like the silver and bluish teal gray outfit more? That's personal opinion. That's what you like, what you kind of flock to, what you gravitate to as far as being a collector. Do you like the additional base, or do you want the additional accessories? The hoodie comes with is identical for both figures, either the up hood, where it's completely up, or the partially down hood. Now, one little point I talked about in the breakdown segment, having the hood already attached to the figure, so it's not an additional piece or accessory that could be lost in the packaging. You don't have to remove it from the packaging because it comes attached already to the figure, is a nice subtle change from Mattel. I like how they attach it to the vest already. The 56 figure, you had to have both pieces separate in the box, and you attached the piece you wanted. So I like the evolution or the change of the figure, the progression of getting better with Mattel's quality and design and principle, and saying, hey, let's attach the down hood to the figure by default in the packaging. Very, very subtle, very good change from Mattel. Now, if I compare it to the Royal Rumble figure here, either of the two figures is a drastic change, because this was AJ's very first figure. As I mentioned in the breakdown segment, it's going to look completely different. His gear was not yet designed properly when he came into Royal Rumble, and he had sort of just a kind of loose-fitting jacket compared to the jackets you see here. So this one's going to look completely different. The bucket looks different. The face looks different. Everything looks different. I mean, if you compare this one to this one, do you want this one over this figure? That's personal opinion. I like AJ Styles as a wrestler. I wanted all of the figures in his likeness. And I like having the Royal Rumble figure because it looks completely different. And it gives me a kind of a nostalgic feel of when he came to WWE. This is how he kind of looked. The face is a little off, but that's the way it is when his first appearance, and they're first going to design and make the figure for him. He does also come with a figure stand and a backdrop display as well. But all in all, if you want my personal opinion, if you had to pick between all three figures, if you can get Top Picks, get the Top Picks figure. If you can't find that one, get the Elite 56. Between these two figures, I would say buy them both. In my honest opinion, buy both the Elite 56 and the Top Picks Elite as well. I think they're both great figures, same level of articulation between the two figures, just different paint schemes, paint variants between the two figures. Little subtle changes to the face scanning technology, but this is an awesome figure. I highly, highly recommend buying the WWE Elite Top Picks AJ Styles figure. I hope you liked this video review. Definitely click that like button. Always click subscribe with a picture of my face. When you subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon to be notified of my latest videos. Of course, last but not least, you can click Windows over here to watch more of my content. Take care, guys. I'll see you next video, and bye-bye.